Oh boy, do we have a lot to unpack with this one. So he finished England 2, DR Congo 1. It was a tough game. It was a very tough watch. Um, I think we've managed to scrape through against one of the more underdoggy teams, although watching them throughout the tournament, they've obviously put a lot of surprises in. They drew with Portugal. So there were no slouches. I went into this one not expecting us to dominate. I expected them to come out and attack us, which is what they did. And obviously, there's quite a lot of players in their side that, if you watch a lot of Premier League football, you'll recognise. So we knew they weren't a team of unknowns. What I will say is I was surprised by the performance of the goalkeeper. For a second choice keeper in a French side who managed only 4 appearances throughout last season, he put in a heck of a performance against us. Um, Easily, like, man of the match quality for that kid. But we got the win in the end. We're through to the round of 16 against Mexico, which again is going to be a very, very tough game. I think this is probably the hardest match we're going to have had so far in the World Cup, even tougher than Croatia, I would suggest, because Mexico are at home, essentially a home game at the Azteca. Obviously, there's the altitude that we know could be a stretch for us, and it sounds like their fans have taken to having parties outside opposition hotels throughout this tournament, so that one could be interesting as well. So the game itself, then, I think for the first sort of 20 minutes, 25 minutes before the first hydration break, we were awful. Obviously, they scored the goal early on, inside the first 10 minutes, but we were sloppy, like front to back sloppy. The defence giving the ball away, massive gaps. Congo were getting down that right hand side so often. Jed Spence just no clue. Um, it was just it was a shambles. Nico O'Reilly again started off quite poor. He were having a torrid time against their wingers, and to be fair, I think when the goal came, it wasn't really against the run of play. I think that they'd been on top, so for them to score early probably wasn't a shock. Little surprised that Pickford got beat at his near post. I think he should be doing better than that. But when the ball gets played across to Sipenga, I want to say his name is, sorry if I butchered that. When the ball gets played across to him, he's got so much space, it's unreal. I think Spence should have probably been out there, obviously, because right back, but he was more central, and he had so much time. He got a chance to just pick his spot. It was just such a bad goal to concede, and then even after that, we just couldn't seem to string two passes together. We genuinely looked like we'd never played football together, like these players had only just met. Then we had the hydration break. Obviously, Tuchel had a word, and things started to improve. We started to attack a bit more. I'm going to say it again. I've said it in every video so far. Madueke's awful. Madueke should not be in this squad. He started off where he just couldn't beat a man. Then when he did start to beat a man, there were no end product. I think he improved before he came off in the second half, and he did start to take players on. He got into the box with a chance where he took on 2 players and managed to squirm his way through. But overall, he was so poor. Again, Spence, don't rate him at all. I have no idea why he's been selected to play in this England squad. He played for a Spurs team last year that almost got relegated. There's just genuinely no reason why he should be in this team. I get that we're short of right backs, and obviously he's come in as like a fourth choice because even Gerald Kwanzaa were in front of him, but he took a knock against Panama. It was just, without going down the Trent route, we do have other right back options. Um, I think I said it in a previous video. I think Tuchel's obvious plan was Livramento were going to be that second choice right back, and then Unfortunately, he got injured, but that was the opportunity to go, look, Trent, come back. We shouldn't have called it up Gerald Kwanzaa. When we needed fullbacks, it was a weird decision, but it's one he made, and we've sort of got to live with it now. God knows what he does against Mexico, because we cannot play Jed Spence and Madueke on the right hand side against Mexico. They will absolutely torture him. But to be fair, and I know I'm going off on a tangent a little bit here, I think Declan Rice put in a better performance at right back than Spence did, and I would be tempted to maybe start. I know Rice is like probably one of our best midfielders, but I think I'd be tempted to start him at right back, maybe drop Bellingham back to play alongside Anderson, like he did in, I think it was the Ghana game, and then play Rodgers as number 10 and just do it that way, because genuinely shouldn't be seeing Jed Spence near the starting 11 again. Maybe as a substitute later on, but he absolutely should not be starting another game in this World Cup. Then, obviously, we got to half time behind, and team talk seemed to work. Second half, we came out a completely different team. We were attacking constantly. Rashford had a few opportunities on the left-hand side. He put another one into side netting, which he did in the Ghana game, I want to say. A bad angle, put it into the side netting. Quite a lot of opportunities that the goalkeeper saved. He pulled off some unbelievable saves in that game. He was really, 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 really on form. Maybe Barnsley should take a look. I don't know how much La Havre want for him, but we need a goalkeeper. Then Gordon came on. And I've been critical of Gordon throughout the tournament, and I'm not gonna go back on it. I think he's been poor in the games he's played in so far, but against Congo when he came on, I'll be honest, I'll hold my hands up. He changed the game. Obviously, got 2 assists. Set up the first for Kane's header with the chip into the box, and played the ball through for Kane to absolutely welly into the back of the net for the second. So he did change the game. However, I would still start Rashford against Mexico, and then let Gordon do what he did this time. Come on, give him the last sort of like half hour, 35 minutes, maybe the full second half, depending on how Rashford's playing, while he's fresh and the Mexican fullbacks are a little more tired. And then I think Gordon's performance was helped a lot by the fact that Rashford had already run the fullback into the ground a bit. So I get people were criticising Rashford's output, fair enough, but Gordon was only as good as the players he played against, and I do think that Rashford constantly running down that left-hand side did tire out their fullback and did give Gordon a bit more of a sort of like tired legs. It gave him a bit more of an advantage, and I would do exactly the same again against Mexico. Let Rashford do all the running. You never know, he might pop up with a goal, but let Rashford do all the running, tire out the fullbacks, bring on Gordon when he's got fresh legs, and hopefully do what he did against Congo and set up a couple of goals. Right hand side, probably Saka's got to start. Madueke's awful. I don't know who I would have as a backup for Saka then, though. That's the problem, because I would be very reluctant to bring Madueke on. Maybe you play better against a tired team, but I don't know. I definitely would not be starting him. If Saka could only play 60, 70 minutes of a game, start him and bring him off. Don't bring him on late on. And again, I think Bellingham probably stand out our best player until obviously Kane popped up with 2 goals. You could see that he'd just run himself into the floor. When that second goal went in, I think the celebration was as much relief as it was happiness that we'd scored and gone in front. But yeah, I think Bellingham is, when he puts that England shirt on, he is unreal. I know there's been a few critics of his again, but genuinely don't see it. Anderson's doing fine. He has given the ball away in a few games, but in general, pretty solid, especially when he's playing alongside Declan Rice, who, like I said earlier, quite easily one of, if not the best midfielder we have. So Probably one of the best DMs in the world, to be fair. And that's not being biased. But we did it. We ground out a result. I know it wasn't a spectacular 6-0 win. Never, genuinely never expected to get that anyway. I knew it was going to be a tough match. But if we're going to grind out results and get through this way, then that's just what we need to do. If we win a World Cup by grinding out results and not playing fantastic football, I don't care. I just want to see England lift that trophy. We can worry about playing spectacular fancy football after we've won a tournament, but I think Tuchel's aim is just to get us over the line and do whatever it takes to do that. And if that means scraping results like this against teams like Congo, then we do that. Looking forward to the Mexico game. I think they're going to be a team that attacks us a lot more. I think we are set up to play a counter-attacking football against a team that comes on to us. So I think that game will be a lot more open. But it all depends on the squad selection. If he plays Madueke and Spence on that right-hand side again, I swear to God, I'm turn it off. If I'm getting up at 1 a.m. to watch Madueke and Jed Spence on that right-hand side again, I will be tempted to turn it off and go back to sleep. But here we are. We're into the round of 16. There's some good games to come up yet. Spain are playing tonight. Argentina are still to come up against Cape Verde, which again is a potential banana skin. We saw what they did against Spain. There's no reason why they can't put in a solid defensive performance against Argentina, and all they need to do is take it to penalties. We've already seen that a couple of teams that you wouldn't expect to get through have battled, like Paraguay, for example. Battled, frustrated the so-called bigger team, take it to penalties, and when it goes to penalties, it's anyone's game. If Cape Verde can take that game against Argentina to penalties, then you never know. And Austria are no slouches, so Spain obviously can't sit back and allow them to play football because they've got some good players in that side as well. So we shall see what comes. Roll on Monday morning, 1 a.m. That one's going to be painful when my alarm clock goes off, but here we are. It's the only bad sort of kick-off time we've had, so you can't really complain. And then if we get through, I think after that it's like 8 o'clock and kick-offs, which ain't too bad anyway. So let me know what you thought of the game. We'll have a discussion in the comments. Check out my other match reactions, and let's hope we can get the win against Mexico.